What's going on, everybody out there, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger comic book review episode. Still in the testing phase, still a bit late, but before we get into any of that, first and foremost, we want to wish and hope all of you out there had a happy, healthy, blessed, and filling Thanksgiving over this 4-day weekend. We are recording this on the tail end of the 4-day weekend. Obviously, as we said, we're late, but we wanted to make sure to wish you that before we got started with this review. And now we're heading towards the next holiday, which is Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever else you guys choose to, or you guys celebrate in the month of December. So, as I stated before, we are in the testing phase still, and we are late. The books in this review were released on
November 15, 2017.
Which isn't this past Wednesday, it was 2 Wednesdays ago. So we're trying to play catch up, but at the same time, we are still testing out speeds and types of reviews for this comic review show. Last week, we cut the review in half. Our normal review time is 45 to 50 to an hour when it comes to a regular show. Last week, we went 24 minutes, which is half the time that a normal episode is. This week, we're going to try to take that 24 minutes and either cut it in half or get as close to half of that time as possible. And again, this is the testing phase, and this is where your guys' feedback is super, super important. Let us know which speed you like, because we are testing this out not only to see where we find a nice sweet spot when it comes to time and types of reviews, but where you guys find enjoyment and like as well. So we're doing this for us, and more importantly, we're doing it for you guys. So your feedback is super, super important. If you didn't see last week's episode, if you missed out on the episode before that, definitely check those out. Check this episode out. Let us know which type of review you like the most, because we are, like I said, we're in the testing phase now, because when 2018 comes, nothing's set in stone yet, but we are testing out to see what we are going to be setting in stone in 2018 and what won't make it, what will make it. And your guys' feedback is important, because we're doing this, like I said, we're doing it for us, but we're also doing it for you guys, and your guys' opinion matters a lot to us. So we want to know what you guys think, and I've spent 2 minutes on this already, so I've already added 2 minutes to this review. So let's waste no more time and go into this format. Like I said, you guys let us know, and then we are going to make a determination in 2018 what's going to happen or not going to happen, or where we're going to go. Paper Girls issue 17. 2 weeks late. It is not a book that came out this week, but as always, I got to review it. I love the story, I love the artwork, and I love the series in general. This issue, you have Cage, you have Tiffany finding out about a possible husband that she has in the future. The girls end up getting more information about the people who've been rebelling against the Time Lords. The Time Lords are attacking to try to stop the girls because they think they're interfering in time. And all hell breaks loose. This was an excellent issue. I've been enjoying the series. I believe the first hardcover is coming out soon for Paper Girls, collecting the first 2 trade paperbacks. So basically 10 issues in one hardcover. I'm actually debating getting that over the trades. At some point, I probably will go to single issues. I'm not sure. I do like getting my books in trade now, so I might just wait for the hardcovers when it comes to Paper Girls. I'm not too sure yet. We'll find out. But anyway, that's Paper Girls. So, we now go into this week's books, going to Michael.
Yep, Survivor Series 2017 special. This comes out each and every year, and I like to read about the past WWE Survivor Series, and it comes in these stories. The first story is the Montreal match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, behind the scenes of Vince McMahon.
The screw job, yeah.
Right. Basically, Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon were talking about how they were going to screw up the match, and we all know how that happened in Montreal. The second story talked about Kurt Angle's story, about how his wrestling career happened and how he became popular in life, and that was a really interesting story. And the third story, like the cover, Bill Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, a minute and 22 seconds that happened last year's Survivor Series. And that was a great background story of Goldberg. And then the other 2 stories, I believe one was Mean Gene Okerlund, and then the last story was about The Shield. But really great stories about the Survivor Series pass, and really something you should check out if you're a WWE fan. Ninja Act, okay? I don't know how you could say that, issue number 1.
It's Ninjak.
Alright. I really didn't see anything good about this issue. Like, it was very long, heavy dialogue, and I really could not understand what was going on in this issue. So, this was like my weakest book of the week. I don't know if that's going to be like that in issue number 2, but if it's going to continue, I'm not going to even bother reading the other issues. I don't know what happened with Ninjak. I really liked Ninjaks in the past. This one just it just doesn't really fulfill me and my interests. Bloodshot Salvation, issue number 3. This is where Bloodshot finds the guy you see on the cover, Father, who he travels who travels the world to find where he is because he's part of the nanites thing. And he goes to him, and then he tries to kill him, but then things in the end didn't work out so well for him. And then you have Magic, who meets up with Punk Mambo after the whole incident happened in the hospital with her daughter, who's been having the nanites thing. And really a great issue. I can't wait to see what happens in the next issue of Bloodshot. See, that book I really enjoy with Bloodshot. Now, this one you want to do, or you want me to do it?
We both could do it. Just take it out of the cover so people see it. TMNT Ghostbusters 2, issue number 3. Now, I have one problem, not from this book, but with IDW's release schedule, but we'll get to that in 2 books. I enjoyed it. It's basically a continuation of what's been going on. The Turtles are fighting to make sure that they don't get caught by the Collectors. Donnie and Raph, Donatello and Egon are still trying to find a way to stop the Collectors from chasing after the Turtles and making cool gear. Ray and Raphael get into a situation. Mikey and Peter get into a situation, and Leo and Winston don't really get into a situation that they don't get out of really quickly.
Well, they do a little bit with the Slimer-like gang.
Right. But then they end up getting caught by the Collectors, and that's kind of where this book left off.
Yeah, this one right here. So, the Collectors already met them, so what about the others?
I don't know.
Well, how are they going to get out of this situation? That's to be continued. I really enjoyed this issue also. This was really good, this one.
So, the fight that we've been waiting for, Invincible, issue number 142, Robot or Rex versus Mark Invincible. And this is a double-sized book because it's a double-sized fight. Basically, Rex does not want Mark back on Earth with his Voltramite crew because eventually he figures Mark's going to turn on him like he was going to back, years ago. And basically he's just strategizing ahead and he's trying to stop them. He takes all the children and whatnot. And it leads into this huge fight. And the ending is exactly what should have happened years ago. But I like how Mark kind of finds an in-between where he didn't have to make a decision to kill Rex or not to kill Rex. And I don't want to spoil what that is. But I will spoil the ending because it's 2 weeks late. Mark actually gets introduced to the son the woman had that took sexual advances of him all those issues back. Little Marky. So that's going to lead to a very interesting last 2 issues of the series. But I loved it. This was the fight that, was culminating back when Mark was on Earth and chose to leave Earth instead of actually fighting Rex, which is what he said in the book, and I agree he should have done from the very beginning. But, now, here's my issue with IDW. TMNT issue 76. Now, we just did TMNT Ghostbusters issue 3. There's only 2 more weeks, 2 more issues to go. Why did they release... I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't hold TMNT at least for 2 more weeks.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering.
I didn't understand. But then I read the book, and it made somewhat sense. But at the same time, I would have rather waited till the miniseries was over. But anyway, it makes sense because in this issue, the Turtles do return home, but it goes back in time to where the Triceratops people actually, and Zom and, and Troc actually, don't invade Earth, but they land on Earth. And they're looking to be accepted by the humans, and basically they're saying we're home. We were here. They try to explain their story. Bishop's there.
They don't spoil about what happened in the Ghostbusters thing, right?
No, they don't spoil what happened in the Ghostbusters thing. So the Triceratons try to just say, we want to live here with you guys. We want to live in peace. Like I said, they explain about what Krang did to them, and unfortunately, it leads to a fight with Bishop. And then Splinter makes an appearance at the end with the Foot Clan, and now it's to be continued. So technically, it does take place after the crossover with Ghostbusters, but we got more of a what happened while the Turtles were gone kind of story instead. I liked it, but at the same time, I would have rather waited till the miniseries was over, because now we still got the miniseries to go, and it does, we knew the Turtles were going to survive, but at the same time, it would have been nice to hold off on TMNT at least for 1 more week. Even give us the penultimate issue before you give us issue 76. But that's a tiny gripe. Story was still good. Art was amazing. Future Quest issue number 4, the Galaxy Trio versus Space Ghost. Loved it. This is the last Space Ghost episode. You get the background of the Galaxy Trio. We find out that Space Ghost was the Galaxy officer that saved them. And I just really enjoyed the issue a lot. It leads to the fight with Omicron where the Galaxy Trio went missing. And now Space Ghost vows that he's going to find them. And next issue goes into Birdman, so this will probably end up in a casual read for me. Weapon X, issue number 11. Finally, we are done with Weapon H. This is the grand finale of the Weapon H story. Great story. I loved how Wolverine finally got through the Weapon H. We find out how Weapon H was being controlled by the Doctor. We find out the fate of the Doctor, the Reverend in this book. Really great stuff. I'm more pumped now that we're out of the first story arc and we're now leading into the next story arc with Weapon X. But it was a great ending for Weapon H. And it leaves another character out there in the Marvel Universe that was not created to replace somebody, but more created to be another character. Incredible Hulk issue number 710. So the Hulk ended up taking control of Amadeus Cho, winning the fight, by the way. And then, of course, Amadeus takes over control again. We get more backstory, a lot of dialogue. And it, of course, leads into the next fight where the Overlord actually goes to Earth looking for enemies of Amadeus Cho Hulk, which I did not read, the Totally Awesome Hulk. So a lot of the enemies might be a big question mark for me. But what can I say? Still a really enjoyable issue. And while you do that, I'm going to check something.
Alright. So, The Punisher War Machine, issue number 218. This is the lenticular cover, but in case you guys can't see what it looks like, it basically looks like this. So, it starts off where, how this is going to work out, how the Punisher becomes War Machine. So, before any of this happens, we get the whole thing, you know, where the Punisher does his thing, where he punishes things or the people on a ship. And then he meets up with Fury in this book. Yeah, with a mission that there's like this thing where he wants to get like you know, all the army that he wants to get rid of that has a War Machine thing, and he wants him to get the War Machine but then bring it back to him. And with him saying, I don't think so in the end, it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a thing where the Punisher's addicted to the War Machine, but I don't think Nick Fury's going to get what he wants. So that's going to lead into something huge and big at the middle or end.
Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. I believe it's issue number... Forget it, I'm just going to open the cover up. Issue 297. The lenticular covers are so hard, guys. This is the actual cover. Peter Parker, on the run from being captured, ends up... I like the composite Spider-Man. He ends up sneaking away. It's just basic... This whole issue is him trying to escape being captured, and then he ends up finding a Spider-Man suit, but it's a composite of the black and the red. So you have, like... I'm trying to find a nice shot of the full suit. Mostly it's black, but the mask and the gloves are the red. So you got, like, the black Spider-Man suit with the red gloves and mask, and he escapes. J. Jonah Jameson shows up to save the day, and it looks like Doc Ock is working with this agency, and he saves Pete, but in the end Pete ends up surrendering himself anyway because, spoiler alert, they were going to take Aunt May anyway, you know, to coax Peter Parker out of hiding. So in the end Pete ended up, you know, fighting his way out of his apartment, but inevitably ends up getting arrested. Then we've got Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, issue number 10. Again, a lenticular cover. We will not be getting, after December, that's it. We're done with these lenticular covers. So next month, which thank God there are not that many in December, we're done. I can't take these anymore. So it's Ben fighting against the slinger, the web slingers. He's fighting against the tentacle monster, whatever. We get a little bit more backstory on the little girl and the older woman that Ben's been taking care of in the slot machines. Ben ends up kind of losing control of himself a little bit when it comes to the brother. What do you call it? What's her name? Oh, God. I forgot her name, but the sister. And he beats him up really badly. And then it looks like there might be a repercussion. I'm not sure. But it looks like there might be a repercussion at the end of this issue for him he kind of went down a darker path in this issue. And I wonder if the more bad things he does, if it will impact his body. Because they leave off with him looking at a mirror. So I'm not sure. Interesting stuff. The Defenders issue number 7. Basically, this entire issue, I'll show you guys a page. It's mostly Iron Fist fighting Elektra. Not a lot of dialogue.
Oh.
But they're trying to get information out of Elektra, and of course Daredevil's the one that gets information out of Elektra. Turns out Diamondback ends up taking over Black Cat's place. Hammerhead meets a sad ending. We get a little bit of Deadpool, which was like, eh.
Oh, the Punisher was in it.
Punisher's in it at the end, and it's to be continued there. I really don't like the Deadpool parts in this book. I'm going to stick with the Defenders physically until Bendis' run is over, and then I might move it digital, or I might try it out physically all the way through. But I more than likely will move Defenders digitally after the Bendis run, Brian Michael Bendis run with the first volume, unless they end it, which is a possibility too. If they end the Defenders after this first arc, then... But I don't think they will. I think they're going to keep it going, and I'll probably end up moving it to a digital pile. X-Men Blue, issue 15, the grand finale to Mojo World. Mojo World. It was excellent. I loved it. We had Magneto show up. You know, Kitty Pryde now knows about Magneto leading the X-Men Blue team. She's not happy about it. Jean knows that Kitty Pryde is going to be trying her hardest to get rid of, or to separate the X-Men from Magneto. She actually has certain words for Magneto. And then I love how Colossus comes in and kind of reminds her, you know, he's been on our side for a long time now. He's done horrible things, but look at all the good he's done since those horrible things. And she kind of just walks off saying, you know, walk the straight and narrow or else. But Jean and Cyclops know Kitty's going to be trying to get them away from Magneto now. And their lives just got a lot harder. Green Lantern 35, I think I'm done with this physically. I know I said I was done with it. Picked it back up again because it picked up. I just don't have any interest in this book anymore. The more I read it, the less I'm interested in Simon's life, Jessica's life. Simon ends up with a one-night stand that doesn't want to stay with him because he doesn't have his own place. And Jessica and this other warrior. And it involves this other girl that's chasing after him. It's like, I finished. This was one of the first books I read because I knew I wasn't really interested. And it's one of the first books I'm already forgetting. Forgettable story and probably something that's going to go digital in another month. Along with Batwoman issue 9, I've honestly had it with Batwoman as well. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not something that's so extravagant that I should have it physically. Whereas Green Lanterns will probably go into a casual read where it'll be a casual digital read where I won't be focusing on reading that book anymore. Batwoman will go into a digital review read still. She's fighting her and Colony Prime or Prime are fighting against Scarecrow and his what do you call it? The fear gas. And Batwoman finds a way to kind of turn it around on Scarecrow, and now she's kind of the horror, or she's Scarecrow's nightmare now, or something like that. It's like, I don't really see a purpose for this anymore. It looked like it was leading to something cool with, you know, the dark future and whatnot. Now, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah. Trinity, issue number 15. So, in this Trinity issue, we find out more of what's going on in the background with, you know, with the whole thing of what happened in the last issue with Superman and Wonder Woman that they now have kidnapped, along with Deadman and Satana. We have the Batman with Red Hood and the Outlaws, who he finally snapped Jason Todd out of that demonic thing. And Superman actually, ironically, snapped out of the whole demonic thing as well. But they have an even bigger problem with her when she turns into this big creature. And, well, basically a bit almost in the behind where Ra's al Ghul gets her. But then, see, it says here that they're trying to get her out of the thing, but then it says the end. That kind of doesn't understand me. Like
they saved her. In the end, they saved her. The end.
Okay, I was just saying, like, how could you say the end when you're in the middle of saving her and stuff like that? I thought maybe
probably they just saved her and they're leaving it alone from there.
Right.
Which is fine. So I'll be taking over Trinity again with issue number 16.
All right. Yeah, it was a good run with Justice League Dark, I should say. Oh, forgot to take it out.
Nightwing issue 33. I will be so happy when this when this Raptor story is over. So Raptor's turning everybody in the Bloodhaven into blockbusters. He even finds Tiger Shark, and Tiger Shark ends up becoming a blockbuster as well. You saw that on the cover. You see Pigeon. You see that Raptor's kind of having second guesses, but Pigeon's basically saying, you know, you talk to me in jail, I'm going to be the one that helps you hold your hand and guide you through the end of Nightwing and the end of Bloodhaven and the end of Defacer as well. It's really cool, and you see that what's her name actually Sean actually reaches out to Dick because obviously they have a joint enemy right now, and maybe it's setting up for a fix between the two of them. Maybe they'll end up getting back together. I'm not too sure, but I'll be happy when the Raptor story's done. And now it looks like Bloodhaven's under fire. We'll see what happens. I believe the next issue is the end. Good. Get rid of Raptor and goodbye. The final part to the Bats Out of Hell, Justice League issue 33. And the spotlight, as you can see on the cover, is Cyborg, who is finally giving up being Cyborg and kind of uniting a bit with Mother Box. This way he can break the frequency or break free from the dark Batman, and somebody else is kind of trying to stop him because he'll lose himself in becoming, one with the Mother Box, but he does it anyway. But I think he does it under his terms, or at least that's what I gathered from reading this, and it turns out the voice that was in his head was actually Raven. And what's really cool is they have a Titans line. He's like, we're stronger together. And I like how even Mother Box was saying that Cyborg isn't super important to the multiverse compared to the Justice League, which is hints that might be being dropped about him. And of course, the Justice League escape. Surprise, surprise. And now Barbados is pissed, and you got and you got the laughing Batman promising not to worry that they'll figure it out. But anyway, speaking of Batman issue number 35, the fight between Talia al Ghul and Catwoman. And that's most of this issue, and them fighting and talking about Batman, talking about this fight, how one is going to kill the other. Damian talking with Dick about his father and marrying Selina. The fight ended up... See, the thing is, it ended up where Selina won, but at the same time she didn't, because I don't think the woman she wanted to bring back to kind of admit to all of her crimes actually even said yes. So in the end, they end up leaving. Awesome fight, really great dialogue, and Talia actually approves of Selina, which is really cool when it comes to her talking with Bruce about Selina. So, awesome stuff. Super Sons issue 10, The Fortress of Attitude appears. Yes. So, Damian and John, the more they practice together, the more they are, Damian is training John, the more the fathers believe they need a place of their own. We get a little intermission. So apparently this is leading into a future story arc. We all know it's coming. It's been stated already that it's going to be Super Sons, Teen Titans, and I believe Trinity or a book. I don't remember which book. So Superman and Batman get together and they build John and Damian their own little kind of like, not hideout, but at the same time they build them their own place to be. And it's a nice composite of Batman and Superman.
Wait, did they just say Fortress of Attitude?
Yes, it's well, that's what John calls it. Damian doesn't agree, and Damian ends up getting thrown into school. He's no longer being homeschooled by Alfred. He is going into a private school with John, and so they're going to go to school together. They're going to work in this place together, and it's connected to the Justice League. So any overworld kind of like end of the world situation will go to them, and they actually get their first mission right away. And I like it. I like how they introduced this like clubhouse, secret place for John and Damian.
Alright, so I guess they're going to be going to school.
I hope they do show us an issue of them in school together.
Oh, probably.
But the condition for Damian is he has to go to school and he has to get good grades, or else not only does he lose the fortress, he no longer can be Robin.
Oh.
And this one shot is the Batman Who Laughs. We get his backstory. We find out that the Joker got to this Batman somehow, even though this Batman stopped the Joker, and he was compromised somehow, and he ended up turning on not only his family, but on the Justice League and all of the heroes on his Earth, and he became the Laughing Batman. His world was destroyed. Barbados came to him for help, offering him, to bring his world back if, he helped him, and that's that. That's the Laughing Batman. He is the darkest of all the Batmen. Honestly, he is the darkest of all the Batmen, in my opinion. But really good. I believe this is the last one-shot that involves the Batmen. Superman 35, as the cover shows, this time we get John's point of view in this book. But we actually do get a little bit more of Superman. Superman and Lex. Superman being, hounded by the people who want him to be their ruler. We do get to see John, and the cover shows it all. He ends up saving this Apocalypse pup and his family, and they kind of befriend him, and John kind of uses them. What's his name? Oh shoot. Why did I lose his name? Calabac ends up catching Superman and Lex. Lex gets knocked out. Superman is in trouble, but Calabac gets attacked by the Fury. Superman gets freed by Lois somehow. And all of Apocalypse ends up going dark. So, kind of a more to be continued. But, as Superman and Lois are in trouble, enters John with his new friends.
Wow.
Really good book. Really awesome stuff. I enjoyed it immensely. And we went 25 minutes, guys. So we kind of, even on a faster speed, ended up with 25 minutes. But there were 19 plus books. I had 19 alone.
Right.
You had
3. Oh, no. Wait, there were...
You had a lot. We had over 20 books. So for over 20 books to do 25 minutes, that's about a minute a book. Not bad. We'll continue to be testing. But let us know what you guys thought about this review. Did you like the less detailed reviews? Do you want more detailed reviews? What have you? We're still testing things around. This was episode 419. Next week is 420.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So, thank you guys so much for being here. Now it's your turn. Let us know in the comments below what you guys thought about all the books we reviewed here. Likes, dislikes, agree, disagree, recommendations. We'd love to hear from you guys. And until next time, everybody, take care. Keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys really soon in the next review.
Later, guys.